Today we're talking about what I consider the worst weight loss advice on the planet, the kind that sounds so responsible and scientific that people repeat it like a rule of life, and yet it quietly wrecks progress for millions. Quick favor before we jump in, if you enjoy clear, no-nonsense health breakdowns like this, hit like and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely motivates the creator to keep publishing new videos, and it also helps this one reach more people who are stuck in the same frustrating cycle. And yes, this worst advice is also the most common advice you'll hear from mainstream sources. Before we start, this is education, not personal medical advice. If you're on medications, especially for blood sugar, pregnant, have a history of eating disorders, or you're managing a medical condition, talk to a qualified clinician before making big changes. Now let's get into it. If you've ever tried to lose weight, you've probably heard some version of this. Just lower your calories, portion control, eat less, move more. On paper, it sounds like common sense. Calories in, calories out, simple math. But in real life, it often turns into a slow-motion trap because the human body isn't a spreadsheet, it's a survival machine. When you repeatedly eat less in the classic way, especially when your diet stays high in processed carbs, you don't become a sleek fat-burning machine. You become a hungry, stressed, snack-seeking person who's constantly negotiating with your own biology. If you've ever done it, you know the cycle. You start a calorie cut, you feel proud, you white-knuckle it, hunger builds, cravings hit. You start thinking about food all day, you break, you blame yourself, and then you tell yourself you'll start again on Monday. And what makes it worse is the story society tells about that failure. They'll say you lack discipline, you need more willpower, you're not committed enough. But here's the truth that annoys people because it's accurate. It usually wasn't your willpower, it was the strategy. The biggest problem with classic calories-first dieting is that it trains you to fight hunger as if hunger is a moral weakness, but hunger isn't a character flaw. Hunger is a survival signal, and if you trigger it hard enough for long enough, you will lose that fight because you are designed to lose it. Your brain is built to protect you from starvation, not to protect you from a modern pantry. When you lower calories repeatedly, especially in a high-carb framework, your body adapts. People call it a slow metabolism, but a better way to think of it is that your body becomes extremely good at doing more with less while simultaneously pushing stronger hunger signals to keep you alive. That's why many people can diet in their 20s and early 30s, then hit their 40s and 50s and feel like weight loss is suddenly impossible using the same methods. Your body learned the pattern and started preparing for the next famine you keep pretending is a lifestyle plan. Now, I need to separate low-calorie dieting into two categories because they're not identical. Lower calories plus lower carbs can reduce hunger for some people, but lower calories plus high carbs is where the misery usually lives, because high-carb eating tends to keep insulin elevated, and insulin is the key character in this whole story. Think of insulin like a switch that decides which fuel your body is allowed to use. You have two main fuels: glucose, sugar from carbs, and fat, your stored body fat. When insulin is high, your body gets the message: use glucose, store fat, don't access the fat bank. So if you're eating low calories but still high carbs, you're doing something brutal. You're cutting fuel coming in while also blocking the fuel you already have stored. That's why people ask a question that feels almost insulting when they hear it out loud. How can someone be overweight and still be tired? Because fat is potential energy, but insulin decides whether that potential becomes usable. If you can't access your stored fuel, your body behaves like it's running low even when it's carrying plenty. You end up going from meal to meal like you're chasing the next charger, and this is why you get that desperate hunger between meals. Then the usual advice comes in: eat 6 small meals a day. Spread it out, keep yourself stable. It sounds gentle, but here's the problem. Every time you eat, insulin rises to some degree, and if you're eating constantly, you rarely let insulin drop low enough to access stored fat efficiently. So you get stuck in this state where you're always feeding the system and still never feeling truly fueled. And when you can't sustain it and fall off the plan, they blame you instead of blaming the strategy. Then come the band-aid solutions. Drink more water to feel full, load up on fiber, chew gum, distract yourself, or try appetite suppressants. Some of these can help a little, but if the core issue is that you're trapped in a fuel system that keeps you hungry and craving, you're being told to cope with a problem created by the plan itself. And yes, some people use medications that reduce appetite or change blood sugar signaling, and for certain individuals under proper medical supervision, that may be appropriate. But medication doesn't automatically teach you a sustainable fueling strategy, and every medication comes with trade-offs and risks that should be discussed with a qualified clinician. Instead of chasing hunger hacks, we want to fix the engine. Here's a simple metaphor. Imagine your body like a hybrid car. It can run on electricity from the battery, and it can run on gasoline. Your body can run on fat, or it can run on glucose. Now imagine there's a button called Eco Mode. When you turn on Eco Mode, the car saves energy by dimming the lights, lowering performance, reducing power output. It becomes efficient, but not in a thriving way, in a conserving way. That's what happens when you do low-calorie, high-carb dieting. You're not unlocking fat burning, you're forcing the body into conservation. You get brain fog, fatigue, cravings, and stress signals because your system wants quick glucose while your stored fat stays locked away. Over time, weight loss feels harder than it should, not because you're weak, but because your body is adapting to the pattern you keep repeating. So what's the better approach? Not eat less and suffer. Eat smarter so hunger calms down and your body can actually use stored energy. Here are 13 practical tips that, for most people, work far better than constant calorie cutting because they respect how the body fuels itself. First, stop sabotaging workouts with sugary fitness foods. Sugary pre-workouts, candy-like protein bars, sports drinks, these often spike insulin right when you want your body tapping into stored fuel. Most people don't need sugar during a normal workout. Second, consider training light in the morning. If your body tolerates it, try working out after an overnight fast before breakfast. Even a walk counts. Start gently. Third, start with carb awareness, not calorie punishment. You don't need extreme rules, but lowering refined carbs and sugar often reduces cravings dramatically, especially if you struggle with appetite control. Fourth, build meals around protein and whole foods. Protein supports satiety and helps maintain muscle while losing fat. Choose protein sources you tolerate and enjoy. Fifth, stop the bright light nights. 90 minutes before bed, dim lights, and reduce harsh screen glare. Better sleep often means better appetite control the next day. Sixth, get morning light. Within the first hour of waking, get outside for 10 to 20 minutes if possible. It helps set your body clock so sleep improves later. Seventh, cut late night snacking as a habit, not a willpower test. Replace the routine, brush your teeth earlier, make tea, change the environment cues. Eighth, try time-restricted eating. Many people do better with a defined eating window, like 2 meals a day, rather than shrinking every meal and staying hungry all day. Ninth, don't eat just because the clock says so. If you're not hungry, don't force it. If you are hungry, eat a real meal. 10th, don't keep junk food in the house. If it's in your kitchen, stressed, you will eventually negotiate with you. Make your home a place where it's easy to win. 11th, don't grocery shop hungry. Eat first. Hungry, you buys chaos. Fed, you buys a plan. 12th, treat social events like a predictable trap zone. Eat before you go, don't arrive starving, and decide ahead of time how you'll handle food so it doesn't become mindless. 13th, walk after meals. A 10 to 20-minute walk supports blood sugar handling, reduces stress, improves sleep, and it's one of the simplest habits with outsized benefits. The big takeaway is this: the worst weight loss advice isn't eat healthier. It's the rigid idea that success requires constant calorie restriction while ignoring hunger, hormones, sleep, stress, and how your body chooses fuel. If your plan makes you hungry all day, foggy, irritable, and obsessed with food, it's not a willpower problem. It's a plan problem. A better goal is to build a way of eating that makes hunger quieter and energy steadier, so progress doesn't feel like a daily fight, because the best plan isn't the harshest plan. It's the plan you can live with long enough for results to actually show up.